Why did Jake Gyllenhaal spend his childhood crying at the kitchen counter? What were the two darkest moments in his life? Hi, I'm Jeremy, and you're watching Jake Gyllenhaal's life story through the prism of his biggest defeats that made him tougher. Setbacks in his early career. Before his breakthrough role in October Sky, Jake had numerous opportunities to get his face on the big screen in front of big audiences, but could barely use any of them because of his parents' strict rules. When Jake was 12 years old, he desperately wanted to try out for a role in the classic 1992 sitcom, The Mighty Ducks. His father, a movie director, and his mother, a Golden Globe Award laureate screenplay writer, didn't want their son to star in any movies other than their own. In one of his interviews, Jake even said that he remembers crying on the kitchen counter, begging them to give him a try. It took him 23 years to determine that they were right. They wanted him to have a full education and a normal childhood. He was always under his parents' supervision when filming. He had to obey the rules and didn't mess around. Even though passing on a TV show and other non-family projects seemed like a setback for Jake, perhaps that's what saved him from some of the troubles that have impacted a number of teenage Hollywood stars. But when the right time had come, his father helped him prepare for his auditions. The proper care and mentoring that he received from his parents helped Jake get into his first major film alongside Chris Cooper in October Sky at the age of 17. Jake had an avalanche of offers from film directors, but following his parents' advice, he went to college first. Well, not for long, as it turned out. Donnie Darko, box office fail. Reading the script of Donnie Darko, Gyllenhaal was so fascinated that dropping out of college and getting back to filming was his only obsession. The movie was definitely ahead of its time. In my mind, it's a brilliant, nostalgic, moody mix of awesomeness, but it didn't get the right feedback from the audience at that time. If you haven't seen it, try to picture Stranger Things, directed by David Lynch, and you'll get the vibe. Though I can't imagine what Gyllenhaal was going through as an actor who was just starting to make progress in his career. Jake's acting was good, but he was still looking for perfection and ended up studying in a London theater. Many new actors dream about starring in big roles on the big screen, and then, after having big names for themselves, returning to the roots of acting, playing on stage. But Jake did the complete opposite, and got even more out of it. If not for the poor appreciation of Donnie Darko at that time in the United States, Gyllenhaal probably wouldn't have questioned his abilities and wouldn't have endeavored to perfect them. But in London, he found more than he was looking for. Brits loved the psychological thriller. Gyllenhaal not only got recognition, but got his confidence back. As he shared in his interview with Esquire, "People told me, 'You're good at this, you should keep doing it.' There was a sense of potential there. You didn't have to be the absolute best, but they could smell talent, and they appreciated it, as long as you committed yourself," he said. The BROKEBACK role. I can't say that Gyllenhaal had a streak of bad luck since Donnie Darko, but he turned down Bernardo Bertolucci's The Dreamers because he didn't want to do nudity on screen. It was starring the Ava Green, by the way, and he had a dubious experience in The Day After Tomorrow. In 2005, things got sorted out when Brokeback Mountain came out. It was one of the greatest roles of Jake's career, playing alongside his close friend, Heath Ledger. Jake is the godfather to Heath Ledger's daughter with Michelle Williams, Matilda Rose. The endeavors came with a price, though. Agreeing to be in a movie about gay cowboys meant that both Jake and Heath exposed themselves to immense pressure. The LGBTQ community now has much more acceptance in society, but that wasn't the case back in the early 2000s. Heath and Gyllenhaal's love lives were immediately exposed to the close scrutiny of the spotlight, with rumors about their sexual preferences circulating everywhere in the media. There's even a story that we found on Fox News about Mel Gibson, who became a close friend to Heath Ledger after they did The Patriot together a couple of years prior, warning Heath not to take a part in the movie because he thought it would ruin his career. Allegedly, according to a private investigator mentioned in the article, Gibson distanced himself from Heath after he ignored his advice. Just imagine what the actors had to go through if even their close friends turned their backs on them. So despite extreme pressure, the role in Brokeback Mountain opened the doors to some A-list roles for Jake. A deadlock period. Jake was highly in demand in Hollywood, but as we know, even brilliant acting cannot save an entire movie. The period starting from Zodiac and ending with Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, marked stagnation in the box office for Gyllenhaal. Zodiac was an unusual project for David Fincher, who, with Zodiac, created a much more delayed atmosphere, different from what we experienced in his movie Seven, for instance. And again, just like what happened in Donnie Darko, Zodiac didn't please the mass audience. Though many call it an excellent out-of-the-box thriller drama, it failed in the box office, just like Prince of Persia. In between these two movies, Jake starred in the film Brothers alongside Tobey Maguire. It didn't do extremely well monetarily, but it was a well-done film that got a warm reception from audiences. Then, in 2008, tragedy hit when Heath Ledger, Jake's close friend, passed away. Following that loss, Jake said that it doesn't matter how big the movies are that you take part in. The more important thing is the people that you spend your time with. As he said, what matters is the relationships you make when you make a film, and the people you learn from when you're preparing for a film. That changed a lot for me. In 2015, just when Jake's movie Southpaw came out, he opened up that the year 2009 had prepared one more loaded boxing glove for him. Jake opened up about the impact his parents' divorce had on his life. Although it was painful for his family, at the same time, there was something inspiring about two people being honest with each other, he said. As Jake said it, it helped him to be more honest with himself, both in future relationships and choices for his movie roles. And judging by what movies Jake did after that, he was right. The stagnation was finally over as he made peace with himself. Full of absolute inspiration and love for what he was doing, Jake started off with a provocative music video for The Shoes, the song Time to Dance. If you also appreciate movies emphasizing visual storytelling, then you'll definitely appreciate the conceptual video. For 8 minutes and 30 seconds, Jake plays a psychopath with an unbearable desire to kill twitching hipsters that pretend to dance at parties, but doesn't murder the ones that are actually dancing with passion. The following years were the most uplifting for Jake's career. Though some of the movies that we will mention might not be familiar to you, they are indeed some of the best examples of his talents as an actor. In 2012, Jake starred alongside Michael Pena in End of Watch, the thriller drama about two Los Angeles street cops. The movie tempo, regular, maybe even a bit dull jokes, just like the normal cops do, and just the depiction of the life of an LAPD cop is incredible. As the director, Agris Ayer said, "I've shown the film to officers all over the country, and they all say the same thing. Finally, somebody got it right." Both Pena and Gyllenhaal went through exhausting training, even including actual 4 a.m. ride-along shifts with the police. The two didn't feel the connection before the filming started, but after an incident, while they were on a police ride, they were surrounded by a number of people, and Pena felt disoriented. Quote, "I knew Jake would stick up for me in the midst of all that." And indeed, they've become incredible partners both on screen and in real life. The success was followed by the movie Prisoners alongside Hugh Jackman. Rolling Stone magazine called Jake's performance exceptional. Though the events in the movie evolve calmly, Jake's and Hugh's acting is what rules over the movie, not montage. Gyllenhaal's success strengthened in the movie Enemy, where just like Ewan McGregor or Leonardo DiCaprio, he had to play two characters at once. Now when Jake had proven to everybody that he is indeed an incredible actor, he could afford to get back to niche projects. Jake was at his best in the thriller film Nightcrawler, a story of a thief cultivating his greed and the deepest ghoulish prudence on his way to success. A very complex and deep character. For the roles, Jake dropped 30 pounds from his initial weight of 180 pounds. There are so many other great movies we haven't mentioned, including Tom Ford's film Nocturnal Animals, one of the best underestimated Netflix movies, Okja, and The Sisters Brothers. But let's talk about his most recent projects. In 2019, a supernatural horror film called Velvet Buzzsaw from the same writer and director, Dan Gilroy, premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. The movie had slightly mixed responses, but was pretty good in general. All we can say, you either start getting modern art, or it will kill you. And of course, you've definitely heard about Jake playing Mysterio in the new Spiderman movie. Jake was great as always, but what's more important to mention is his friendship with Tom Holland. If you've seen the interviews with either Tom or Jake, or both of them in one video, you've definitely felt the real chemistry between them. And it's no wonder. Jake has so much life experience and wisdom to mentor young Tom. It's unbelievable, but Jake manages to learn a lesson from any crisis he's been through, with every moment of despair and heartbreaking loss, having led him to where he is now. And that's the biggest lesson he can teach us. What life-changing experiences have you had? Share your incredible stories with us, and what's made you be a better, stronger person in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay awesome.